All right, guys, so we are picking this up from class, right? If we look at the layout of this basic exam, right, we said that it is 31 multiple choice questions comprised of 9 scenarios. We did scenarios 1 through 6 in class. In other words, of the 31 questions, the first 13 we could do just based on the fact set and basic knowledge that we learned from class. Okay, that's great. Now, right, we have clients 7, 8, and 9 that we have left to do. For each of these clients, 7, 8, and 9, there will be a fact set that is a lot more detailed, right? We will have on here basically one of these intake forms, right? So we're doing client 7 right now, right? Basic scenario 7, Paul and Alexander. They're giving us a fact set, some social security cards, an intake form, right? We did an intake on them, and then some tax documents. We need to enter this information into the software, complete the return, and then we use the completed return to answer the questions, right? Because we have 7 questions that we have to answer them. We essentially get that information here, click to download, there we go, enter it into the software, right? So we started a new return, we entered their basic information. Here I use just generic names to make it a little bit simpler. And then we started to enter the documents on there. Okay, so here's what we're doing. We have roughly, let me see here, how many questions on scenario 7. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 that we have to answer. So 14 through 19 we have to answer. Let's go and see how we did this. So when you first start the return, right, it will prompt you start a new return. You need to enter in their social security numbers from the document. Now, they won't let you put all zeros. It is okay to just put a random social security number on there. So if I go to basic information over here, this is kind of like your ribbon on the left. It basically has your basic info, which is at the top of the return, your income, your deductions, your credits. So these are kind of your inputs. And then down here is kind of your outputs. The name of the game with software and tax is like you input all of these documents down here. So input document 1, input document 2, 3, 4, and then output, right? When you go to summary, print, right? So you can do like view, print your return. Right, it'll have some information up there, but hey, here is those documents, and then most importantly, your completed return. One of the checks you can have to make sure that this is right, these documents look exactly like the documents over here, because it basically, you input them into the software and then it recreates them. But what we have to do, right, we got to go and essentially, we did filing status. We knew they were married on there. We hit continue. I just put in basic information here, right? The most important thing is that you have the date of birth correct. So there's the information for the husband. You can pause it. Here's the information for the wife. You can pause it. You can put in a generic, like, Morgantown zip code on there. We would hit continue. Next, we would enter a dependent, right? So add a dependent, add or edit. You would click up there. I've already done that, right? How do we know to do that? Well, we would review these facts. It's basically husband and wife. He's retired. So we have a husband and wife. The husband's going to have 2 tax documents, one for Social Security, one for a pension. The wife will have a tax document. There'll be some dividend income. And then there'll be a document for the daughter on there. So there's not tons of information, right? We essentially, the lay of the land is there's a W-2 for the wife, a 1099-R for the husband, a 1099 SSA for the husband, and then a document for the daughter, and then also some dividend income. We need to input those into the software. We're putting the daughter's name, again, her date of birth, that's the most important thing. You click yes on there. Yes, she's a US citizen. Daughter, 12 months, and this person is over 18. So you may have to pause that to see those. Okay? Keep clicking continue on there. Once you have the basic information, right? Husband, wife, daughter, this is where we kind of ended in class, and we need to start entering these documents in one by one. So we would start with the W-2, right? So we would go to federal section, income. We would do add or edit a W-2, add a W-2. I've already done it in there, right? All I do is transfer that information over exactly, right? So this is for the spouse. This is a standard W-2. I just put some generic information in here. Technically, you would copy all of this, like the employer's number on there, but you can look at that. The most important thing, right? What do you care about? What do you need for this? Are these boxes, right? This kind of wages and that stuff up there. All of this needs to be entered exactly the same, which I did in here, 25, 25, 25, right? You would enter that. You could pause and see how I did that. Don't forget, right? DD down there looks like they contributed to like a 401k or something. How I have that checked. You could put Pennsylvania on there, your state. You'd hit continue, right? There we go. That's great. First document is done. Then we would move to the next document, right? So we'd hit continue. We would do 1099-R on there. Right, so we do add a new one. I've already input it, so you can pause and look how I did this. Again, the most important thing is we put in these numbers exactly as we see them. Distribution code 7 on there, right? So you can see that I did that. Over here, distribution code 7. You can pause, go through that, hit continue, not an early withdraw. There we go. Right, that document is done. Just you can pause the video and watch it. I'm trying to make this a little bit truncated, this video. It's done. Check it off. Move to the next document. We have some Social Security. So we would go income, 1099 SSA, Social Security, add. We would add a new one. All that's here, 15.5, 15.5, 0. We would copy that over, 15.5, box 5 on there. They're not asking for box 3, so we copy it over based on what they want. Hit continue. There you go. This form is done. We have a 1099 div, right? They got some dividend income, so we do income. Where's that going to be here at? Interest and dividends over there. That's Schedule B. Dividend income. Add. I've already input this. Again, you just put it in Baldwin Bank generically, right? I mean, I have this information. What's the most important thing? 26, 26, and 260, right? So you enter that in, 26, 26, 260 of federal income tax withheld. Hit continue on there. So that is all the income, right? Next up, right, we got to do deductions. Now, if you click this deduction thing, it's kind of drives me nuts because it's above the line deductions, below the line deductions, and they also have credits on there, right? We know that a deduction is different than a credit. They shouldn't lump these all together, but they do, I guess, to make it easier for a lay person. What we care about is, hey, the daughter went to college on there. We paid some costs, mom and dad, to do that. It's for the first 4 years. We're going to try to get the American Opportunity Tax Credit on there. So we would go to here, right? Oh, it's overwhelming, right? All those. We would go to education credits, add. We would do add another student on there. You could do it originally. I just put Alex on there. That's the daughter's name, right? Did she receive a 1098T? Yes, she did. Did she receive this from the institution with box 7 checked? Well, no, box 7 is not checked. We're going to hit continue. You would enter in the generic information there. You can pause and do that. Here is the thing, right, where you have to do this and look carefully. You would think originally that you enter it exactly as it is, right? So you would put $10,000 here. That would be incorrect. It's a little bit like they don't make the software to line up exactly. Yes, there was $10,000 in tuition, but there was also $10,000 in scholarship. So there really wasn't any tuition that was paid. So we're going to leave that 0 on there. So from a pure tuition standpoint, it's 0, but we do have these other expenses. And if we looked at our PowerPoint for the American Opportunity Tax Credit, it's generally going to be things like tuition and books. So in other words, we would not count the meal plan. We would not count the parking sticker, right? Our number would be $1,250, which would be the $950 here for books, plus the $300 for the Connect, right? The online textbook on there. So really, when we looked at this daughter, if we said, what did she really pay? That's a qualified education expense for the AOTC. Well, she paid essentially $1,250 in books on there. We would enter that in, hit continue on there. All of these, right? You could hit no, yes, no, no on there. You can read those. Trace that back to the intake form on there. Hit continue. Oh, you could pick either one. Well, yeah, we're going to pick the bigger one on there. We want the American Opportunity Tax Credit. Continue. Continue. Continue, right? It's a lot of continues on here. Here's the deal, right? We have now entered in all of this information. They might like sort of jam you up on some like state level stuff. Just kind of click your way through it on there. Same with kind of health insurance information. They might jam you up a little bit. So did they have insurance? You can hit yes. Here's some information about them. Verify your household members. And then these items, what did I put for that? So I put none, no, yes. You could just put in a generic amount for the premium on there. Hit continue, continue. State section, you could do West Virginia, you could do Pennsylvania on there. So I did Pennsylvania just because I was in Pennsylvania. They basically ask you some stuff there. You could hit yes, continue, right? The city. The state stuff doesn't matter because all the questions come from the federal return. So just kind of plow your way through the state stuff, click whatever you have to click to get through it. It's not going to matter because what we have done at this point is we've entered the inputs, the basic information in the tax documents, right? So we've used this up here, this right here, and we entered all of these in, input, input, input. Then what we do is summary print, right? We would then do view print your return right there. Generating the PDF. Right, just a very high level overview here on them up front. Here are those tax documents, right? They should look exactly like the software created these on there. They should look exactly like what you did and what the client gave us. And then we have the return, right? So if we looked at the return, right, it's like husband, wife, they're married filing jointly. They're getting the credit for other dependents, that $500 for the daughter. Hey, there's their standard deduction on there. Where's that at on here? Right here, 30,000, 750. We can claim that daughter for the other dependents. We can find also, hey, how much tax was withheld on there, right? So, okay, there's what they owe. Here is what was withheld on there, right? We had that total amount withheld of $46.60. You can look, hey, there's some information about the Social Security, the gross amount, the taxable amount. And then one of the things is with those dividends, right, we will assume that all of the ordinary dividends or all of the ordinary dividends are qualified dividends and are reported on the 1099 div. In other words, yeah, you got whatever the amount was, 260. That's the total of that total ordinary amount. All 260 are qualified and are reported on the 1099 div and receive preferential treatment. That should be good enough to get you through this exam or this specific client on there. So use that and come into class next week with that guy done. Right, next week in class we'll do client 8, and then client 9 you're going to have to do on your own. So I'll practice with you 7. Next week we'll do 8, and then you'll do 9 on your own. The return, like the due date for all of this, right, is going to be the the associated date in Blackboard. What do I want from you in Blackboard? Let me open up Blackboard to show you this. Right, at the end of the day, I want you to click VITA certifications. I want you to go down here, right, the drop box on there. You will go into, and this is again after you've finished everything, right? So this isn't like a week or two. It's not right now, right? Because you have to have the other returns done. But once you finish the basic exam, right? And again, you only get 2 attempts, right, on there. Be aware, right, that the second attempt is a completely different exam with different clients. So it's not like if you just get 7 out of 10 right, and you could just guess on the second attempt like it's the same exam. It's brand new, a completely different exam. If it were me, if I did not pass the basic exam on my first try, I would go back and create a whole new Lincoln Learn account and do the intake and interview on there. It's just simpler that way. But what you would do is when you're totally done, you would go into your VITA, you would click Achievements, click 3, right? You would download PDF, download PDF, download PDF. So you will have 3 PDFs. I want you to click that guy right there. You will upload all 3 files. So PDF 1, PDF 2, PDF 3, submit it. I see those. You'll be good. You'll get the points for this assignment. So we will see you in class next time on this.